Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah, here in front of Ser Alberic, our Dragoon trainer. Yeah, let's see how far we can go with him. Friends through eternity. Serenia, word of Heustienne's disappearance from the infirmary has reached mine ears. Whilst part of me is quite capable of sympathizing with his desire to abandon the Holy See, I do wish to he had said something at his departure. But then I suppose it is only to be expected. With Nidhogg slain, the Horde's ranks have fallen into disarray, and they are not the threat they once were. XIV has scant need of an azure Dragoon. Suffice it to say, one would imagine the role of a Dragoon shall similarly be forced to change as we enter this new era of relative peace. However, whilst you have saved Heustienne from the Great Worm, my mind is yet plagued by Heustienne's internal strife. May alone lend her the strength needed to shake free from the Dragon Blood's fierce grip. Yeah, that was the plotline of Heaven's Ward, where Ser Heustienne became our apprentice and then was, during the execution of her duties, infested with a dragon's blood and struggled with not transforming. And there's her father. Oh, you're looking quite well, Ser Alberic. And Mistress Serenia, it's a pleasure to see you too. Lord Montogan, Serenia and I were just speaking of your daughter. That daughter of mine is in fact why I've sought you out. I was recently handed a letter by a merchant that has passed through the Chocobo forest. If his word is to be believed, he was entrusted with his message by Heustienne herself. The letter was a call for help. Mistress Serenia, she bade you search for her. But the fury. Has she been set upon by heretics once more? Alas, there was no information in her message. Oh, not a day goes by that I do not pray for her safe return. Serenia, I must ask you to take up your lance once more to aid your fellow Dragoon. Are you willing? Of course. Thank you, Mr. Serenia. Heustienne awaits you in the Dravanian Forelands. Please, help her with whatever she requests. So, Dravanian Forelands is... On the cliffs? Mare's Oath. That is that ruin down here, right? Yeah. So... here? Serenia. So the letter reached my father. I'm sorry for having you journeyed so far just to meet me. As you well know, I cannot return to XIV in my current condition. That said, the blood's hold on me is not as firm as it once was. This is largely thanks to a new ally of mine. His help has been invaluable in learning to control the dragon within. In fact, I have a mind to introduce you to him. Orn Khai, Serenia has arrived. It is an honor to meet you, hero of man. Much have I heard of you from my father. You would often talk of a warrior that boasts the strength of a dragon. Orn Khai has been a great friend ever since he first came across me suffering from a blood's effect. I very much doubt I would be capable of standing here exchanging words with you were it not for his help. I called you here in order to repay my debt to him. Orn Khai, tell Serenia what troubles you. Yes, thank you. Long before I came into this world, in the age when man and dragon were at peace, my father had a consort. But the Dragonsong War tore them asunder. Father belonged to Raceworker's brood, as do I, but his consort was part of Nidhogg's. When Nidhogg demanded vengeance for the wrongs committed against him and Ratatoska, Father asked his consort to fly far to the east. She bore no ill will toward man, and while she wanted nothing more than to stay by Father's side, She accepted his request and fled the conflict. However, your valiant action have put an end to the Dragonsong War. I'm positive Father's consort will return if we inform her of the war's conclusion. Orn Khai requires your aid in search for his father's consort and bring her back home. However, as she left Ravania some 1,000 summers past, locating her shall be far from an easy task. Under normal circumstances, I would help Orn Khai myself, but while I am somewhat recovered, I am yet far from being in complete control. That is why I summoned you, Serenia. Your knowledge of the realm is unparalleled. I beg of you, aid Orn Khai in his search. Alright? You have my sincerest thanks, Serenia. Thank you, Serenia. I owe you a debt of gratitude once more. Regrettably, whilst we know she's somewhere to the east, we are entirely ignorant as to the consort's precise whereabouts. I would suggest you first try asking Ser Alberic about Dravanian legends, specifically those concerning dragons in the east. Pray report back to me once you have learned something you deem pertinent. And back to Ser Alberic. Glad to see you safely returned. Were you able to locate Heustienne? I see. She's correct to surmise that formidable dragons are often made the subject of local legend. I shall discuss it with the congregation's priest. I have known him to be quite an authority on Dravanian legends. Although to think that a dragoon once gripped by the sole desire to slay dragons now should wish to help one, 'tis a queer new world indeed that we inhabit, though not one I dislike. But that matters not. I shall seek out the priest at once and raise your query with him. Pray return and learn, and I shall impart my findings unto you. Level 63. Serenia, just the woman I wish to see. We finished examining the Dravanian legends known to us but a short while ago. However, the priest bade me make it clear to you that these kind of legends are oft told in increasingly colorful ways as the years go on. Quite common is it for the mere scalekin or pup to, with the keeper's help, transform into a fearsome dragon. I suppose it should come as little surprise. Legends gain fame by capturing the imagination of the masses. It would not do for an unadorned winged lizard to be the protagonist. Let us put the issue of authenticity to one side for a moment. I have summarized the first tale, which seemed most relevant on the piece of parchment. Pray put it to use in research. Oh, and lastly, tell Heustienne that she is ever in my thoughts. And back to Dravania. Father often remarked that you would have made a fine Dravanian. Would that parchment happen to be from mine eyes? Ah yes, I would never forget Ser Alberic's exquisite handwriting. This information shall be of great use, I'm sure. Let us see, it seems you think we ought to commence our search with the slumbering worm of Ser Albania. It's the first seeing these patterns that men use. Fascinating indeed that you can share information in such a manner. Dravanian history is chronicled not with letters but through song. These verses have taught me much about Fonem, my father's consort. Fonem, you say? Well, knowing her name can only aid the search. The Serenia pray accompany Orn Khai to the ruins of a Fists of Walga's temple in the fringes. Ser Alberic states that this is where the origins of the slumbering worm lie. The journey ahead is long and will benefit us not to delay our departure any longer. Whistle for me when you have reached our destination and I shall come to your side. Okay, then that is Ser Albania and... Okay, so this is the temple of a Heustienne. It would seem man is capable of using lots of styles when creating buildings. I'd been expecting something similar to those found in the Churning Mists. Let us venture inside and see if von them cannot be found. Serenia! Oh, a golem. Your help, if you please. Done. Let's continue on. I had been admiring the craftsmanship of men that suddenly moved toward me, though I struggled to believe this was what legend referred to as the slumbering worm. Researching the slumbering worm, are we? It is always nice to see others take up an interest in history, even if it is entirely shallow. Wait, you know of the slumbering worm? We have journeyed here for the very purpose of meeting the dragon. Your Dravanians could do with studying up on your history. The time when one could meet the worm has long since passed. The High Priest Heimat, also known as the slumbering worm, departed this world over 300 years ago. The slumbering worm was a mere man? But of course, why would you think otherwise? Heimat was a monk renowned for his mastery of meditation, though when necessary he was quite capable of harnessing his worm-like strength to trounce his foes. He earned the slumbering worm alias after blah 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 100 men blah blah however fell asleep blah blah. Well, it seems we must begin our search anew. I too may become a slumbering worm should I listen to this tiring man any longer. Let us pay a visit to Ser Alberic instead. Anyone Heustienne holds in such high regard can surely aid our hunt. Goodbye. He just keeps talking. Blah 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 blah. Okay, and Curthus. So, that obviously was not the slumbering worm we were looking for. Obviously not the worm we are looking for. I'm relieved we're not alone in failing to consider the possibility of non-Dravanian slumbering worm. Good evening, Serenia. Our friend here has informed me as to the truth behind the legend. I apologize for not looking deeper into the story before bringing it to your attention. Your next destination lies in the far east. Tell me, Serenia, have you set foot in the region before? A port called Kugane? Sounds positively fascinating. I imagine it would be a fine place to begin looking into this new next legend. Regrettably, I should not think Orn Khai will be able to accompany you on this journey. But how do you expect to find von Nem without a dragon in tow? Your plight is well understood, Orn Khai. It is truly a shame your wings do not match your ambition. Though, mayhap I have not fully considered all options available to us. We do owe you a great debt for all you have done for Heustienne. Allow me some time and I shall see to it that you are able to follow Serenia to the far east. You have my thanks, Ser Alberic. Oh, I wish I could set off on this very moment. Perhaps a spot of hunting would be enough to calm me down. Pray call me when preparations are complete. At the very least, we know now that Heustienne will not have wanted for company since leaving Ishgard. Sadly, I must struggle to secure passage to the east in quite as timely a manner as he would like. Pray keep your lands owned. There's no knowing just what you shall face and offered. Okay, I need to continue main quest, so a little time skip here. See you in a moment. Okay. I've continued with the main quest so far, and Ser Alberic, Serpent and the Sea of Rubies. Ser Alberic plans to try his hand at dragon smuggling. Serenia, it pleases me to tell you that I have at last discovered a means to have our young friend safely transported to Dragonet. I have reached an agreement with the owner of an establishment in the area. I believe its name was Bokaisen Hot Springs. Converse with him once you arrived in Dragonet, and he shall tell you Orn Khai's whereabouts. I took the liberty of making the little one aware of a few local legends. Hopefully they shall aid you in your search for them. Kugane. Come on, burns, cuts, embarrassing rashes. There's not that mythical waters of a Bokaisen hot springs cannot heal. Oh, you say your name is Serenia Shadowstar? Why, a package just arrived for you. I shall fetch it right this instant. Someone, anyone, release me from this icy prison. Ah, what was that blasted dragoon thinking? It's all well and good for him to tell me to simply sleep through the journey. He's not the one stuffed in a crate of ice crystals. And the boat, oh, how it rocked. Admittedly, he is right in thinking dragoons capable of entering a long sleep-like state, but we are not bears. We do not require freezing cold temperatures to achieve this. My fangs are like icicles. That said, I must admit, I enjoyed my best sleep for many years. Anyway, now we are both here, we can resume the search for Fornem. Before I was unceremoniously stuffed into that crate, Ser Alberic told me the legend of Seiryu, a dragon regarded as a guardian of the Far East. Though something tells me we would not have much luck with this tale either. The stories existed for several thousand years. Fornem only came to these lands a mere millennium ago. Ser Alberic agreed with the story most worth our attention was that of the Serpent of the Ruby Sea. This came into being much more recently. I suggest you visit Isari and try asking the residents if they know anything that might be of help. Whistle for me once you feel you have found something I should know. Isari, so let's listen around for... What is that now? Am I familiar with the Serpent of the Ruby Sea? You will struggle to find someone here that is not. Not a day of my childhood passed without my grandmother telling me that fairy tale. These days, hearing the opening line of it alone puts me to sleep in an instant. All children dare swim out into the deep blue sea are sure to become the sea serpent's tea. Oh my, I nearly fell asleep there. I imagine that's all any of my age will be able to tell you. Try asking the elderly woman over there if you want to know more. Wise woman. You would have me tell you a fairy tale of a serpent of a ruby sea? Oh dear child, that is no mere fairy tale. Head on over to the choral banquet if you dare not believe me. You shall find a horror beyond your wildest nightmares. Its nose misses nothing, especially not the blood of man. There is many a tale of wounded pirates falling overboard and being swallowed alive before they could plant a hand on the ship they fell from. Does it seem like the serpent could be forename? While it's true we dragons hunt by following our prey scent, I have no longer kind to swallow man whole. The idea strikes me as awfully barbaric. While I doubt this will lead us to forename, my curiosity has been piqued and I cannot simply leave this mystery unsolved. But it is also a brilliant excuse for me to engage in a bit of hunting. We cannot hope to draw out the beast without bait after all. Head to the choral banquet and I shall join you shortly. Father never mentioned you're this slow, Serenia. I've already hunted a beast which will doubtless lure out the serpent, and I still arrive here long before you. I shall go ahead and hurl the bloody meat into the sea. Pray deal with any hungry creatures that are drawn to us. Serpent of a ruby sea, hello. Oh. Well, I do not know about you, but it was somewhat bigger than what I was expecting. You may have failed to find forename, but in your place we have gained a delicious supper. Now we have a serpent meat. Let us head back to Bokai's Hot Springs. The last one back has to prepare dinner. Oh, Serenia, good to see you returned at last. I must confess I was unable to resist the meat's seductive call, and before I knew it, I devoured the vast majority of our spoils. Please do help yourself to whatever is left. I stored the leftovers in the crate I was sent here in. Pay no attention to anything that may resemble teeth marks. Those are indentations created by the ice. Oh, anyone could see through that lies. I'm sorry, Serenia. I do hope my greed has not upset you too much. Why didn't you leave me any good morsels? Calm yourself, Serenia. Many would count themselves lucky to even have a chance to nibble on the meat of such a majestic beast. Regardless, meat is far from our primary concern at the moment. I'm beginning to wonder if the day we find forename will ever come. But I must not allow myself to lose heart so easily. There's still plenty of legends for us to go look into. Hope is far from lost. Pray continue to grant me your support. Hello there, Serenia. I must say, I could get used to life in the Far East. Unlike those in Ishgard, Hingan harbor no ill feelings toward us Dravanians. You should really hear some of the things Karaku says. He keeps remarking that he wants me to stay here for eternity when he introduces me to new people. It seems he believes quite strongly that dragons bring good luck. But what is that expression I see on your face? Could it be jealousy? Oh, Serenia, do not worry yourself. You shall be just as popular here one day. More importantly, one of the new friends I made through Karaku mentioned that he knew something that might prove relevant to our search. I was just about to go and meet him now. Why don't you accompany me? Give me a moment. I shall call him now. It is I, Orn Khai. You. Endless and most sincere apologies to you and yours for the wait. Yes. Wait, what? Serenia, do not worry. No more betrayals. Sworn on all the kami in creation I have. Yes. Serenia, you have already made Gyoro's acquaintance? Come to hear about dragon lunges. Yes. There's a place that comes to mind. The Azim Steppe. You can get there by following the One River, home to all Namazu. Go way upstream and you will reach the steppe. Yes. It is here that the monstrous dragon as dark as night sky is set to slumber. The darkest night sky, you say? No more information do I have. Go to the marketplace in the Azim Steppe, known as Reunion. You may find the answer you seek there. This could be the one, Serenia. The Horde was home to many a dark-scaled dragon after all. Let us hurry to Reunion. I don't think I can go there already. So, I guess we stop here for this episode and continue another time when we have more access to more of Stormblood. Until then, I'm Mace and well, until next time anyway. Not necessarily then. Until next time, I'm Mace and don't get lost.